Hello, my name is Zac Dooley. I am Senior Manager of Research and Testing at Orthofix Medical. Today I'm going to be talking about tips and tricks when applying for your first industry career. I gave this presentation at BMES 2025 in San Diego in October. So you know a little bit more about me. I've been working in industry for over 20 years. Last 10 years have been with Orthofix Medical. Before that, I was with NuVasive, Swiss Health, and Abbott Labs. I graduated with my undergraduate degree at Marquette University, a few minors, and then I did my master's here at USC with biomedical engineering also. So again, in Orthofix, we pride ourselves on having our vision and values up front and center for everything that we do. So again, our vision is unrivaled partner in medtech, delivering exceptional experience and life-changing solutions. How I play into that is I work on spine implants, hardware that goes in someone's body for scoliosis, degenerative disc disease, and the like. So again, we want to make sure that our surgeons, our patients, have the best experience with our products and people get better. How we do that is with our values: innovate boldly. Obviously, we need to bring new products, better products to market. Taking ownership of everything that we do for the company. In my case, research and testing, making sure our products meet the standards that FDA and other regulators want, and win together. These are all team projects, whether it's business side of things, marketing, shipping, packaging. No one's doing things in a silo. Everyone has to work together to get a win. So the main thing, your first encounter with a company is likely going to be through your resume. Resumes matter because it's your first chance with that company. Now, typically, particularly for entry-level jobs, companies will get a lot of resumes. First goal is not to get thrown in trash for stupid mistakes. What I mean by stupid mistakes, the spellings, random punctuation mistakes, things that don't make sense abbreviation-wise that aren't explained, things that seem unrealistic on your resume. All these things need to be sorted off your resume, and the best way to do that is get other people to read it. Get another set of eyes or different friends, your services, professors even, someone that can read your resume and understand, are there any stupid mistakes? Things that would make this quick to eliminate for no other reason besides there's a mistake on it. Any mistake is probably big enough for me to throw it away. For example, this past summer, I hired for one internship for my lab. I had over 200 resumes for that internship. Hence, any mistake was probably good enough for me to throw them in the trash bin because I still have 199 other people that I can go through and find a good candidate out of. So again, make sure there's no mistakes on your resume. Get it reviewed by a friend, family, professor, career services. Make sure there's no mistakes. Also be an expert on what's on your resume. If it's on your resume, you will get questions about it. You need to provide an example of why that particular item, skill, experience is relevant to the job at hand. Or what did you learn from it? What did it teach you? Not everything when you apply for an engineering job needs to be engineering. We often look for other things like leadership skills, time management skills, anything along those lines that can prove that you can get the job done on time, what we're looking for, that's beneficial to you. This means really is leverage your experiences. All experience can be relevant somehow, how you frame it. Like I was saying, just because you never worked an engineering job before, you may have worked at Target while going to college. And that shows me you have time management. You can show up on time, you can be reliable. Those type of skills are still necessary to do my work as an engineer. You could have something like an Eagle Scout out there. That's fine. It shows leadership skills. It shows that you've taken a project to completion. Not everyone will recognize that type of skill offhand unless they have experience with previous Eagle Scouts or maybe been through that process themselves. But it's a talking point if you do get questions about it. You know how to frame it with respect to the job. You know what benefits you got from it, how it could apply to the job. You can tell a story about that. Those are all things you want to do. Sometimes odd things can matter without you knowing it. You'll never know this. Doesn't mean you need to put everything on your resume, but understand if it's on your resume, you will be asked about it. Make sure it's clear and concise. Why is it there? It's there, you'll get questions. You need to be able to explain it. So if you do get through the resume kind of screen, the likelihood is the first person to reach out to you will be someone from HR, kind of give you a screening for the job. Are you still available? Did you take another job? Can you confirm your graduation dates or your availability for the summer and things like that? Those are going to be basic questions that they want to do with that initial screening with HR. So how can you make sure you're available? That's the key things. Do I have an email address that's reasonable, professional? The likelihood is if I pull up a resume and I see some random email address like Big Baller 53, I'm probably not going to think that the person in this case is taking the job that seriously. I might move on. I got, again, 200 other resumes I can get through. If you're using a school email and you're graduating, do you have access to that email anymore? You may not, you may. But the thing is, make sure you understand the limitations of that. Maybe you only have it for 6 months. You never know. My suggestion is if you do not have a professional first name, last name at Gmail or other kind of major provider address, you get one. That way you can always use that for resumes. You know where resume stuff, potential job opportunities will be going to that. It doesn't get buried with other things. So it's really clear and concise that you can respond quickly to. Often, your first contact may be via phone with someone asking you about a job. So make sure your voicemail is professional. If you have voicemail on your phone, make sure it sounds professional, very generic. This is Zac, I'm not here. Please leave a message. Don't need to be anything fancy, but if I get something with a lot of background noise or something very silly, again, you're applying for a professional job. Things that come across as non-professional can end you in the no-bin. Also, when it comes to that, if I'm applying for jobs and I get a call from an unknown number, do not ignore it. That could be HR. That could be someone else that needs to get a hold of you for this job opportunity. So yes, you might get a few spam calls along the way, but for the chance that you get a real job call, it's worth taking all of the calls at that time. Again, when you answer the phone, be professional. Hi, this is Zac. How are you today? Whatever the case may be. Make sure you listen to your voicemails. Make sure you respond to them. If you get emails, make sure you respond to them. And what I generally mean by being responsive is within 24 hours. If you're taking longer than that, particularly as it gets to 72 or more hours, likelihood is I can move on to another candidate. You could have missed that opportunity if you don't respond quickly. Now, weekends are weekends, but Monday through Friday, you need to think about that 24-hour period. Now, again, networking. Everyone talks about networking. Yes, you should network. You should help put a face to the resume. You should help put a face to what you're trying to sell. So when you have an opportunity for a networking event on campus, attend. Don't ignore it. Yes, you need to finish your degree, but you want to get a job at the end of this. Both are important, so keep that in mind. Always be polite and respectful when you're dealing with a networking situation. You're not there to spread gossip, badmouth where you used to work, anything like that. You just want to be respectful, take people's time, thank them profusely for giving you some time. You're trying to develop a relationship. Not a best friend relationship by any means, a professional relationship. Someone that's willing to kind of take a chance on you or push your name along if they don't have any opportunities at the time. So again, don't ask for a message or referral right away. Build that relationship first. and down the line, you can ask for those things. We're busy professional people, someone in my situation. We do want to hear from you more than once. For her to put our neck out for someone, we need to know a bit more about them besides they graduated from X and they seem like a nice person. If you get an interview, find out as much information on the company as possible. If it's a publicly traded company, someone that has a stock ticker, there's going to be lots of public information available. Quarterly earnings call, year-end calls, insider trading, analyst reports, SEC filings. So those are kind of information that you can look at and get a better understanding of the financial well-being of the company, but also what products are they talking about currently? What products are they excited about for the future? Those types of things will show up in some of those earning calls. They'll show up. There's a lot of insider trading that point to big thing about to happen. Who knows? But also, as you look at their website, you'll see key markets they participate in, key products. You can look at USPTO. Do they have patents? Where are they patenting things? These things matter. Obviously, most companies have vision, mission, value statements. Does that align with someplace you want to be? Think about those things. The idea is when you get an interview, you need to study for it like a final, putting as much time to know about this company. And the more you know about the company, the more it comes across that you know about the company and what they do, more likely you will be to get the job. Also, usually when you interview with a company, they will provide a list of people you will interview with. Most companies that might start with someone from HR, but likely will be your manager at some point, other people you're working with, which may or may not be engineers, things like that. So keep in mind your audience when you're doing these interviews. It's fine to talk technical to your engineering manager, but someone from HR may not understand all that. So you need to be mindful of your audience when you speak, when they ask you questions, how to address that question. Another thing that might be important is how much experience do they have with the company in that role. So maybe they've been around the company a long time. They can provide a lot of insight into how the company works, what's going on, how they've seen it change over the years. If they're brand new, though, they might be hired to start a new department or a new process or a new project. They may not have that experience. They may be selling you something different. Again, what role do they have in relation to your role? Is it your boss? Is it someone else you might be working with? Is it a technical person, non-technical person? Keep these things in mind when you're doing the interviews so that you can understand relationships, the conversation. Often you will be thrown into a bunch of different interviews over the course of a day or maybe multiple weeks, and having some coherency to what you're saying is important. Also, if you do get a list of names, it's fine to do a little light LinkedIn stalking. If you can find a connection with the person, that's great. Doesn't mean it will come up during the interview. Just might use that to understand about the person you're interviewing with a little bit better. Main thing, if you get an in-person interview, even if it's online, but be early, no excuses. Doesn't matter if traffic's horrible that day. Doesn't matter if you're running from a class to do an online interview. There's no excuses for being late to an interview. It's fine to go sit in your car in the parking lot for 20 minutes because you're 20 minutes early. No one's going to fault you for that. But if you're 2 minutes late, they will fault you for that. On an online interview, same thing. If you don't log in a couple minutes before, when that 9:30 time hits, if you're not ready to go, I might have a bunch of interviews scheduled. I need to maximize the time with the candidate. I can't do that because you were late. It's going to reflect poorly on you. Always dress nice for interviews. You can ask, if you're doing in-person interviews or online interviews, to the first person you speak with, HR particularly, about what the dress code might be. Typical expectations could be business casual, professional, even if it's virtual. If someone shows up in a t-shirt and shorts, or reflect poorly upon them in most jobs. If you do not have these types of clothes, again, beg, borrow if you can, borrow from a friend, family. Some schools I know do have loaning programs when it comes to suit for interviews and things like that, so check into your schools. Always have questions at the end. It shows your curiosity and interest in the company and the position, even if they're a little more generic and not job specific. So what's your day-to-day like? What would my day-to-day be like? How would you describe company culture? What makes you come to the office every day? What's your favorite thing about this place? Be curious, show curiosity. People that don't have questions at the end, it comes off as very, very odd because it's very unlikely in a half hour or even an hour interview, I can answer every single thing about the job. So again, it can sound a little bit canned. You can reuse the same questions when you interview with multiple people at the same company, but understand it's expected you have questions at the end. You want to run out of time. That is your goal when you're doing the interview. Obviously, when you can follow up, thank everyone, keep it simple, keep it professional, reflects positively on you to have a follow-up email from a day or two after your interview. It doesn't have to be right away, but do try to keep it within a small, like 48-hour window if you can. These things do help. They do kind of push candidates over the end at times. I've seen it happen both ways, so do keep in mind it does matter. That's all I have right now. Please feel free to email me questions through BMES, and I will be happy to answer them in the future. Take care. Thank you.